For this pattern, we're going to be using DK weight yarn. The first time I made this shawl, I used a paint box Simply DK. Now I'm using a DMC 84 DK yarn. Okay, and you should know how to make the corner to corner crochet technique. So this is 30 rows of corner to corner crochet triangle. We're going to be making 2 of this. Okay, you should note that when you make the second C2C triangle, you're going to make 2 extra rows after you level the first. After you level with the first row, row 1, you make another row 2 from part 2 of the pattern. You find more details in the written pattern. So once you level that up with 2 rows, and we're going to join it. This is the second one, and on the second one, do not snip your yarn. We'll just continue with the wrap from the second C2C triangle. Also know that you can use a worsted weight yarn for this pattern. All you need to do is make the rows lesser. So I have 30 rows because I'm using DK. You can make 28 rows. You can also make 30 rows. I mean, it's as you want, as wide as you want it to be, either 28 or 30 rows. Alright, so we're going to continue on here. So we're going to make, now we finished with the 30th row, we're going to make slip stitches, okay, into the very first stitch, the second stitch, second stitch, and third stitch. We want to level up all these corners. Okay, this is our chain 2 space now. We will do a single crochet in there. Single crochet. Okay, maybe you might want to mark this single crochet to remind you where your last stitch, or rather the first stitch, was on row 1. So single crochet in there into chain 2 space, and now we're coming down here to the next block on the C2C. Okay, into the first one we'll make a double crochet stitch, and into the next one we'll make a half double crochet stitch, and into the last DC we'll make a single crochet. The chain 2, we're going to skip the chain 2. In corner to corner crochet you're supposed to have 3 chains, but to trick this pattern and to have less, space in between the blocks, I decided to use a chain 2. Alright, skip the chain 2. We'll continue to repeat double crochet into the first stitch in the next block, half double crochet into the next stitch, and single crochet into the last stitch on the block. We're going to repeat that into each of the stitches on the block. On each block, double crochet, half double crochet, single crochet, double crochet, half double crochet, single crochet, and into the last block we'll repeat the half double crochet pattern, double crochet, half double crochet, and single crochet. Okay, now we have our chain 2 space here. We're going to make 2 half double crochet stitches in there into the last chain 2 space. We will chain 1 and turn. On row 2 we're going to make 2 half double crochets into the very first stitch. And we'll make half double crochet into 87 stitches. But if you are making the number of rows, C2C rows 28, you will make 81 stitches. You do have double crochet into 81 stitches. Remember that we have 30 rows of C2C triangle here. So if you do 28 rows, you make 81 stitches across. But for this, we have 30 rows. We're going to make 87 stitches. So that means you will skip the last 2 stitches. Don't work half double crochet into the last 2 stitches. So half double crochet into each of the stitches across. In the last 2 stitches, we're going to do a half double crochet 2 together, a HDC decrease. See why I suggested you mark your last stitch, because looking at it from here, it's not going to be, you know, it may be a bit confusing, but if you mark your stitch, it will be easier for you to identify where your last stitch is. So these are my last 2 stitches. I'm going to make a HDC decrease in there. Chain 1 turn. Row 3, we'll do a DC2 together. That's double crochet decrease, double crochet 2 together, and into the next one, double crochet 2 together. Now the reason that we're decreasing on one end and doing an increase rather on the other end is to level this, to shape it out, because we're making a triangle. We're making a triangle shape so that it can just, we can have the straight edge on both sides. Okay, DC2 together, and then double crochet into the next stitch. Half double crochet around DC, HDC around the DC. So that's almost like doing a post stitch. So this is my DC, and then I will go and just do a HDC around it. Okay, the next stitch we're gonna skip it because this HDC speaks for this next stitch. Skip it and into the next half double crochet, and then half double crochet around that double crochet. Skip the next stitch, in the next double crochet, half double crochet around the double crochet. Okay, skip the next stitch. That's what we're going to repeat that the entire way down the row. Okay, I have 3 stitches left here, but basically 2, because I mean I've done half double crochet here, so it has spoken for this. So in these last 2 stitches, remember we began with a with 2 half double crochets into the first stitch. Skip this next one, the third, and then do a double crochet, and a half double crochet around, and into the last stitch we'll do a double crochet. Alright, so you see we've automatically done an increase here, because you see this half double crochet we're supposed to skip. This skip stitch is equivalent to this half double crochet. Now this half double crochet, there is no skip stitch here, which we don't want because we're increasing the last stitch on the row. So we're heading on to round 4, chain 1 turn. We're going to begin with 2 double crochets into the first stitch. In the next stitch we'll do a half double crochet. In the next we'll do a double crochet. So our double crochet will be in this stitch directly in this stitch that we skipped, okay, on row 2. Okay, so we're going to go down. We're going to do something like a long double crochet stitch right in this, and then half double crochet, double crochet into the bottom stitch on row 2, this the stitch that was skipped on row 3. Okay, we're going to repeat that across and make a decrease at the end of the row. In the last 2 stitches, we're going to do a decrease, a double crochet, decrease. Chain 1, turn. On row 5, we're going to repeat what we did on row 3. We're going to start with a decrease, a double crochet decrease, and double crochet into the next stitch, half double crochet around this double crochet, skip the next stitch, and then double crochet, half double crochet around double crochet. Okay, we're going to repeat that all the way down the row, just exactly what we did on row 3. At the end of row 5, chain 1, turn. The next row will be all half double crochet rows, but we're going to begin with an increase, 2 half double crochet into the first stitch, then half double crochet into the next, and half double crochet into the space of the skip stitch from row 5. So this row 6 is all half double crochet rows, and we will end the row with a half double crochet decrease. Row 7 will be a repetition of row 3 and row 5. So row 3, row 5 and row 7 are all the same. So after I chain 1 and turn from row 6, we start with a half double crochet, half double crochet decrease, and repeat what we've done on row 5. After we complete row 7, we're going to be repeating row 4 to 7. It's a repetition all the way down. So the widest width that this pattern was made in was up to row 104, so row 4 to 7 was repeated about 24 times. But if you want to have shorter rows, you could you have to take out some rows, so you could repeat that about 22 times. Yeah, you could repeat row 4 to 7 22 times, and before we join the second C2C triangle to the end. So we're just going to repeat rows 4 to 7, and we'll meet up where we have to join the second part of the C2C triangle. Okay, this is the body of the pattern of the wrap. Okay, your last row on the body should be a repeat of row 4, which is the half double crochet and then double crochet into 2 rows below. Okay, that will be the last row, and now it is time to join. Okay, we're going to go in through the back loop of the stitch. And back through the same stitch into the first. So just align, make sure that the stitches are aligned, and we're going to sew them. Sew each stitch, match stitch for stitch. So I'm going in because the row 2 here is half double crochet. These are half double crochet stitches on this row. Okay, so I'm going under 2 loops, and in the opposite end I'm going under both loops. Okay, so that's how we're going to sew this up to the end of the row. Now I'm going to mark out the sleeve, the width, how much space to leave before we begin. So I'm marking out 14 inches. So any side can be your right side or wrong side. Alright, and you could also decide if you want to make your sleeve on this side as well. It's the same. So it's a reversible design. You can either turn it here or turn it here. Once we finish measuring out the armhole, the sleeve, we'll join into the stitch where you've marked out. Okay, join and also chain 1, and then into that same stitch we'll make a single crochet. What we want to do on this part is to make single crochets into each of the rows, but we would make 2 single crochets and then 1 single crochet in the next, 2 single crochet, 1 single crochet. That's what we're going to do all the way to the next point where we marked out for the sleeve. So I have 2 single crochets here, and in the next stitch row I'll make 1 single crochet, and in the next 2 single crochets. And in the next 1 single crochet. So repeat that all the way to the next point. When you get to this part where you have the corner to corner crochet, which is also part of the sleeve rather, we're going to make only 2 single crochets into each of the C2C tiles. So that's 2 single crochets. Now this is 1 tile. Okay, this is 1 tile. Okay, so I'm just going to do 2 single crochets in there. This is the next tile. We're not making any stitch into this connector, this space here, but rather into the top of the C2C there, the next tile, 2 single crochets, and then in the next one 2 single crochets, 2 single crochets in the next tile as well, and 2 single crochets. Chain 1 and turn. The next row will be double crochet, so we're going to make double crochet stitches into each of the single crochets. Double crochet into the first stitch and each of the stitches across. Row 3, at the end of row 2, chain 1, turn. So the next row 3 will be single crochet stitches. Okay, but we're going to make the single crochets in between the into the double crochet, in between double crochet posts, not into the 2 loops on top. Okay, I'm about to make the last stitch on row 3. So to show you, because since we're working within the post, you might think this is the last stitch here, but we still have one more stitch here that we need to work into. So we're going to work into the side, into the chain 1 at the side, and complete the row. Chain 1, turn. So what we're going to be doing from now up to row 31. 31 if you're making for small size and normal size wrist. If for a larger size wrist, we will make up to row 35. We're going to be repeating what we've done on rows 2 and 3, double crochet and then single crochet all the way up to row 31 or row 35, depending on the size you're making for. Now that I'm at the last row of the sleeve, I'm going to join it now. So we'll fold and into the base of the first row, which is into the same space where we joined from. Okay, we're going to go in there and make a slip stitch so that we can form the sleeve, and chain 2. Now we're going to do double crochet into each of the stitch around. So 1 double crochet into each stitch row, and I'm going to start from the other end, the other side of it. So double crochet, so chain 2 and then double crochet, 1 double crochet around. So if you have 31 rows, you should have 31 double crochet stitches. If you have 35, then 35 double crochet stitches. Making the last double crochet into the last stitch row, and I will join into the first double crochet, and I'm going to chain 2 and turn. Round 2 is going to be front post double crochet. Okay, this is my last stitch here, so I'm going to do a FPDC. That is after the chain 2, do FPDC and double crochet into the next stitch. We'll repeat that FPDC around the next and double crochet. Okay, this is what we're going to repeat all around. Okay, we're going to end, the last stitch on the round will be a front post double crochet. Join into the first stitch, chain 2, turn. Round 3 will be a repetition of, okay, not quite a repetition, almost the same, but instead of beginning with a front post stitch, we're going to begin with just a regular stitch with the double crochet. And front post into around the next one, double crochet and front post. That's what we're going to repeat for round 3. Okay, we're going to repeat round 2 and 3 up to round 7. So that's all we need to do now. We're chain 2 and turn. We're going to start with a front post double crochet and a double crochet in the next stitch all around, and we join and chain 2 and turn. Start with a double crochet in the first stitch and front post double crochet in the next stitch. We're going to be repeating those 2 rounds up to round 7. Once you complete one cuff, we'll go to the next and we will repeat everything that we've done there. Fold and join. You want to make sure that this, where this part is facing, is the same as the opposite cuff. So into the very first stitch row, we're going to join, and into the into the same space where we joined from. We're going to chain 2 and start to make a double crochet stitches right into the same first stitch row, and in the next stitch row double crochet into each stitch around. So basically repeat everything that we've done on the previous cuff on this one. Once we're done making the sleeve, it's now time to make the trimming on the sides. So we're going to do the reverse single crochet. It's basically walking crochet, single crochet stitches backward, in a backward manner instead of forward. It's also known as the crab stitch. So join your yarn and chain 1. You need to be a bit patient with yourself here because the crab stitch can be tricky sometimes. Okay, so we're going to make 2 single crochets into this tile, the C2C tile. Okay, and 2. When you want to make the single crochet, try to move this yarn backward. If it's forward like this, it's going to make a clump over the tile. So try to manipulate your yarn so that it stays backward and you can easily pick it up. So on the next tile, I'm doing the same thing, 2 single crochets. Okay, I'm done with the tiles, the C2C tiles here. So now I'm going to start working on the other rows of the shawl. And we want to repeat what we've done like we did when we were making the sleeve. We were doing 2 and 1 single crochet stitches into each of the rows. We're going to replicate that again, but with the reverse single crochet. So I'm going to make 2 stitches into 1 stitch row, and in the next I will make one single crochet. We're going to do that all 2. Sometimes it won't look really pretty, but like I said, take your time. When I get here, I'm going to snip the yarn because I'm not going to walk over the sleeve rows. So this one I'm going to weave in by the time I am done, and we'll continue with the backward single crochet from the next side, next joining. Okay, I'm done making all the reverse single crochet stitches. Now it's time to add the fringes. So you're going to cut out some yarn. This is about 12 inches. You're going to need as many as many as possible for the side here. So what we want to do is to pick up two, and we're going to pass it through each tile. And we're done. Okay, so you could make your fringes longer if you want as well, but I think this is quite alright. And I would recommend that you actually block this wrap, you know, to give it some stretch, and so that it will, you know, it will drape really nicely when you wear it, or when your recipient wears it. Now, if you do not have blocking pins, what you can do is soak it in water, soak the whole wrap in water, and then squeeze it out. You squeeze it out, and after you squeeze it out, you kind of shake it out and hang it to dry. By the time it's dry, it will stretch out. That's if you do not have blocking pins. So thank you for joining me on this tutorial, and I look forward to seeing you in my next one. Please do not forget to subscribe and give us a thumbs up. It means a lot, a whole lot. Alright then, I'll see you next time. Bye.